You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome to the program, everyone. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. Thanks for tuning in. Now, we all know that they hate Trump over at NBC News. I mean, not just MSNBC, NBC News, Chuck Todd. I mean, these guys have stage 4 Trump derangement syndrome. And it's really one of the most severe cases in the media of Trump derangement syndrome. And as low as NBC has gone over the years towards President Trump, they hit an all-time low, even for their low character, this week on Meet the Press. Now, of course, the theme of the week, every week they got a new slander against Trump, right? Yeah, today, if you hear some noise, the lawn is being mowed, all right? So that's the lawn mower you hear in the background. No, I'm not mowing the lawn. Somebody else is. But I can't do everything, guys, and I'm allergic to grass. So
yeah, in fact, when we first got the house, because we used to live in a condo, and when we first got the house, you mowed the lawn. We've been in this house
almost
19 years this coming March. And you mowed the lawn for like 10 years, and we tried all different kinds of mowers, except a riding mower, because those are like ridiculously expensive.
Yeah.
Anyway, and every time you'd mow the lawn, you would come in and like have to literally do a breathing treatment.
I couldn't breathe for 2 days.
You could not breathe. So I finally was like, let's just hire a lawn guy.
Yeah.
It's not that expensive. It'll save us a lot of aggravation here.
So anyway.
Save your lungs.
And the lawn guy I use, by the way, is an American, and he only uses American and legal labor. All right,
that's true. That's true.
I know people get stereotypes. This isn't California. Now there are people driving around that are not legal, and I don't hire those guys. I hire the American, and it's tough for him because he has to compete against that. But anyway, back to this. So
we're digressing big time here.
So this is not MSNBC. This is regular NBC News on Meet the Press. So every week they've got a new slander against Trump. Like they started a new one now that he wants to tear up the Constitution, which he didn't say that. And
no,
it's so ridiculous. And the ongoing theme that is that he is an anti-Semite, which is just absurd. So of course he's not an anti-Semite. The story got out about what Connie did and brought over this guy. Trump didn't know who he was, et cetera, et cetera. We talked about all that last week. So
what's the new thing now?
Well, I'm getting to that right now. So Chuck Todd on MSNBC did one of the scummiest things I've ever seen someone do in the mainstream media with their Trump derangement syndrome. So to further this false narrative that President Trump is an anti-Semite, even though there's no evidence of it, it's totally been debunked and everything else, Chuck Todd invited Benjamin Netanyahu, the Israeli prime minister, many times. He's been prime minister many, many times. He invited Benjamin Netanyahu to get his back and call Trump an anti-Semite. And let me play this. It didn't go the way that Chuck Todd wanted it to go. And this is just a real low-life move, even for the low-life antics of Chuck Todd and NBC Meet the Press. Listen to this. This is Chuck Todd, Netanyahu.
This directly, look, you've got a unique relationship with former President Trump. He has consistently flirted with some really fringe characters that spout this anti-Semitic behavior, that preach white supremacy and white.
Now, first off, these are all lies. Kanye West, having a break from reality, brought this lunatic Fuentes over that Trump didn't know. So, I'm not going to go through the whole story again. We talked all last week about it. And Chuck Todd knows all that is, he knows the truth, but that's not going to let him slow down his slanders.
Spout this anti-Semitic behavior that preach white supremacy and white nationalism and things like that. And he doesn't denounce it. He is yet to denounce Kanye West at all. He's yet to denounce being with a white supremacist a few days ago. Why does he have this difficulty, do you think?
I don't know First, let me say that President Trump did great things for Israel. He recognized Jerusalem as our capital, long overdue since King David proclaimed it as such 3,000 years ago. He moved the American embassy there. He recognized our sovereignty in the Golan Heights. He got out of what I believe is the disastrous Iran deal that would have paved Iran's path with gold, hundreds of billions of dollars of sanctions relief towards a nuclear arsenal. So he's done all these great things, and I appreciate it, and I remain appreciative. On this matter, on Kanye West and that other unacceptable guest, I think it's not merely unacceptable, it's just wrong. And I hope he sees his way to staying out of it and condemning it.
You do seem, though, you want to praise him for...
Yeah. Chuck Todd, he just doesn't understand. You know, you've been the Israeli prime minister, you're going to be again, all these times, so you're a Jew. So you should just automatically just call someone an anti-Semite.
Unacceptable, it's just wrong. And I hope he sees his way to staying out of it and condemning it.
You do seem, though, you want to praise him for what he did for you. It's an ends justifies the means argument. And at what point does his behavior end up impacting? I mean, if his behavior is creating death threats to Jews, inspiring people like what happened at the Tree of Life Synagogue in Pittsburgh.
How did Trump inspire or do any of this stuff?
To shoot and kill Jews. Doesn't that wipe away anything good he did for Israel?
If it's systemic and continues, and I doubt that it will, because I think he probably understands that it crosses a line. But if you ask me what is driving the rise of anti-Semitism in France or in Britain and elsewhere, where it's clearly not this or that personality, then I would say that probably what is driving it is one of the unfortunate effects of the internet age.
Okay. So, what Chuck Todd he accused Benjamin Netanyahu of covering up and buddying up with anti-Semites. He said to Netanyahu, when Netanyahu gave his answer, Chuck Todd said, well, you kind of have this ends justifies the means kind of thing here. So he's accusing Prime Minister Netanyahu of covering up anti-Semitism, excusing anti-Semitism, and all these other things. I mean, that is really I say that's Trump derangement syndrome, not just regular hate, because Chuck Todd sounds a little confused as to why Netanyahu isn't condemning Trump. He's not condemning Trump because he knows he's not an anti-Semite and knows he got tricked into meeting this Fuentes character. That's why he's not an anti-Semite.
Well, they're trying to make this, and I'm not saying anti-Semitism isn't a thing. Clearly,
it is. Yeah,
but they're trying to make Trump.
Unfortunately, it is
like the center of it.
Yeah,
and that he is starting it, and he is stoking those fires and attributing violence to him. To anti-Semitism violence to him is ridiculous. Anti-Semitic violence has been going on for decades and these examples of years. I mean, forever.
Thousands. And these examples
the Jews have been around
that Chuck Todd gave. He's blaming Trump for these other things. It's all just ridiculous. And I'll say this: all of these bizarre attacks on Trump are so bizarre and historic. Those people that tell you that he can't win, they tell you this all the time. Oh, Trump should not have announced he can't win. These people hate Trump so much. If they really thought he had no chance, if they really thought he could not win, they wouldn't do all of these things that they're doing, come up with these weird things like, and this stunt with Netanyahu.
They wouldn't be attacking him so vehemently.
No, what they would let him, if they really thought he would lose and go down in a defeat, they would allow him to do it and be defeated and humiliated in defeat.
Right.
As opposed to doing all these bizarre schemes like this thing they started yesterday that they're running today, that he wanted to tear up the Constitution. He never said that. And the only thing I've seen torn up is a State of the Union by Pelosi, which was a crime because that was an official government document that she tore up. It's like, you get in trouble for doing that if you're a regular person. They are terrified of him, and he can win in 2024. In fact, not only can he win, they expect him to win. That's why they continue to do this. And let me tell you, you go back, there has never been a former president that's gotten this much attention. Not even Richard Nixon. Richard Nixon, he had that Frost-Nixon interview, which was kind of a big thing at the time. But other than that Frost interview with Nixon, when he left office, he was in obscurity. Every once in a while, he would do an interview. Former presidents, all they do are go to baseball games and throw the first pitch or book signings. They're not in the news. They're not a part of the news. You rarely hear about them. I mean, look at George W. Bush. You rarely hear him unless he's saying something nasty about Trump. And for the news cycle to still be so much around a president that's not in office at this moment it tells you that they believe he is very, very likely to win.
Well, you have people, thousands of people, maybe millions, but people in the media with these platforms and access to at least try to influence the nation. And they are laser focused on one thing, and that is making sure Trump is not back in the White House.
That's right.
And the problem is when you get super laser focused on one thing, you can't see the forest for the trees.
Yeah.
You can't see what else is going on around you because you're so honed in on this one thing. It's like I always say, it's like in Moby Dick, and it's like Captain Ahab with the whale, and Trump is their Moby Dick. They cannot. They're obsessed. And what happened to him? It leads to your destruction.
That's right.
And that's what has happened. Look at CNN. Look at all these people getting fired now. Why do you think that is? Because they have spent so much energy and time bashing Trump and being so radical liberal and pushing this radical agenda. People have stopped watching the network. They're not getting sponsors anymore.
That's right.
They're losing money. They're bleeding money. Why do you think all these people are losing their jobs? Look at Shepard Smith. He quit his job because of Trump derangement syndrome. I know he blames Tucker, but Tucker was defending Trump.
And now he's lost his job.
He couldn't handle it.
And now he's lost his job at CNBC.
Yeah, I mean, these people are self-destructive. Their obsession with Trump is destroying their careers and
That's right.
Their personal lives because they're completely obsessed with this man.
Now, here we are. It is Christmas shopping season. No doubt about that, right? We are in December. There's no better place to do your Christmas shopping than MyPillow.com. And with our promo code at checkout, Kane, Kane, there are huge savings. Now, you can take advantage of all the specials at MyPillow.com with our promo code Kane, not just the ones I highlight, right? So if you see anything else there, no matter what it is, you can take advantage of that special with our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. I just share what I view as, kind of like my favorite products that I think, that you guys would love to have. Now, if you go to MyPillow.com, click on the radio listener specials. There is an opportunity there to save as much as 80% off. That's right, 80% off some great MyPillow products. Just go to MyPillow.com, click on the radio listener specials, and you'll see that clearance sale, 80% off. It's amazing. Now, there's two things I want to tell you about that both make great Christmas gifts for whoever is on your gift-giving list. One is the 3-inch MyPillow mattress topper. Kathy and I have had ours for a year and a half now. We love it. That 3-inch MyPillow mattress topper comes in every mattress size there is, from twin all the way up to California King and Split King and every size in between, including RV Queen. And the 3-inch MyPillow mattress topper is 50% off with the promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. This is the lowest price ever, and it's a better price than we got on ours a year and a half ago, by far, right? We got a good deal on it, but not this good. It's a good one. Comes in a perfect package for wrapping as well. You'll love it. And that 3-inch MyPillow mattress topper turns your whole bed into a MyPillow. You will sleep better than you have ever slept in your life. I wake up when my alarm clock goes off in the morning, not hours early and tossing and turning all night. It's amazing. One other thing I want to mention, the MyPillow My Slippers. This is a huge thing that is just now available for the Christmas shopping season. Now, of course, the MyPillow My Slippers are $90 off, less than $50 a pair, right? They have a whole bunch of new colors, and they also have a whole bunch of new sizes. Listen to this, Kathy. They have smaller sizes available for people that got smaller feet, right? They've got smaller sizes available. You'd probably be able to find sizes that would fit some of your children, but they have smaller sizes, which they didn't have before. They now have. And they also have large sizes, like extra large sizes and extra wide. and things that many people have been requesting. Large, wide, smaller, they have it all, including a whole bunch of new colors. $90 off, less than $50 a pair for the MyPillow My Slippers with our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. All right, so Jean-Pierre at the White House, I want to play this. She responded to, not quite yet, Jean-Pierre. She responded to the Twitter files. And I'm going to play you her response. And she talks about hate speech and anti-Semitism. And let me tell you, Rush used to talk about how Democrats have that old playbook. They always go back to the same play, the race card, hate, bigotry. They accuse anyone of that who calls them out. But let me tell you something. There is real racism and anti-Semitism in this world, like Nick Fuentes, okay? To call anyone anti-Semitic or racist who is not trivializes the real hate that is out there from people that are doing it, and it's wrong. So Jean-Pierre in the White House press briefing was asked about the Twitter files, and this is how it went down.
Decisions were made to censor reporting leading up to the election. My question was, is it the White House view that these decisions were made appropriately in light of what has come out?
Which decisions? By whom?
By Twitter.
By Twitter on, okay. So, look, we see this as an interesting or a coincidence, if I may, that he would so haphazardly, Twitter would so haphazardly push this distraction. That is a full of old news, if you think about it.
Okay. The Twitter files are not old news. It is evidence proving things that CBS just discovered a week ago as news,
hold on.
the Hunter Biden laptop
How
story.
is it old news if they denied that the laptop was real and
Exactly.
CBS just admitted it, like you said, just
a week
admitted
ago.
it was real a week ago?
It's new news.
So how is this old news?
Exactly.
And at the same time, Twitter is facing very real and very serious questions about the rising volume of anger, hate, and anti-Semitism on their platform.
Okay. Now, first off,
I can't stand her.
That's complete nonsense. Elon Musk immediately banned Kanye when he did something that was anti-Semitic. He put something up there that was just disgusting, Kanye, and anti-Semitic. And Elon Musk almost instantly, personally banned him from Twitter for doing that, for preaching that, putting that hateful anti-Semitic image on Twitter. This is a knee-jerk thing that liberals do. Anytime you challenge a liberal, you're a racist.
Yep.
I'll tell you guys
and you
quick
see
story.
that with callers.
I see it all the time. Let me tell you guys a quick story that happened with Steve. There was an incident a number of years ago. Steve and I used to be on I know this sounds strange to you guys. We were on a school board diversity committee. We were appointed by two different school board members to the diversity committee, whose job it was to deal with diversity and education in our local school system in Broward County, Florida. Steve was accused of being a racist. There's a long story about this, and it was a big scandal. Steve wound up on CNN, live on CNN. And Steve's being interviewed on CNN in the studio, and I'm in the green room next door watching Steve on the monitor. And they're talking to Steve about all these people that are accusing him of being a racist, hating black people, and all this stuff. And the CNN anchor says, I want to show our viewers something from your website. And I got a little nervous because who knows what's on the website and social media and everything. And it was a photograph of Steve with his entire family, including his two black sons and his black daughter. And the guy that was interviewing, this was live on CNN, he says, the people that are calling you a racist, Steve Kane, do they know that you have 3 black children? And he says, oh, yeah, they know. They say that it makes me even more of a racist.
Yes.
And it was, and boom, that was it. People that are liberals call conservatives racist, homophobes, and anti-Semites anytime you challenge them, because liberals have no arguments to defend their positions. Those are their knee-jerk positions to try to get out of
and a lot of times
being pressured.
It successfully shuts a lot of people down.
Yes,
because nobody likes to be called that.
Yeah.
And it immediately puts you on the defensive, because when you're challenging them, they're on the defensive. And if they turn it around, you're a racist, then all of a sudden you're on the defensive. So what would your advice be? Say two people are having a conversation and one is challenging a liberal, and he says, "Well, you're just a racist." What would be the comeback to that?
I don't want to give away all my secrets on how to do.
No, but what's your advice for people dealing with liberals?
I will. I don't want to give away all my secrets on how to be a talk show host, okay, guys? Because I've spent my entire adult life
honing your craft,
learning this, okay? But I'll give you one that you guys will know. When I tell you, you'll say, "Oh yeah, I hear you do that all the time." The first thing I say to people when they call me a racist is give an example of something I've said or done that is racist.
Exactly.
And they're left without an answer. Sometimes they'll say everything, or there's so many examples.
Then name one.
Yeah, exactly. Then I'll say name one, because I don't want to be doing something that's racist. I don't want to be saying things that are racist. So please expose me. I'm not going to give you other tips, you guys.
Just say to them, how so? How am I
for
racist?
An example.
Tell me how.
That's right.
So I can correct my behavior.
For an example. Now, listen, if you would like to advertise something on the podcast here, get in touch with us. Go to my website, briancraigshow.com, and send us an email. Now, Kathy handles the emails that come through the website at briancraigshow.com. Not me. But Kathy is kind of like my assistant. They used to call assistant secretaries.
I feel like a secretary sometimes.
Well, hey, I'm a busy guy. I need to have
an unpaid secretary.
No, you get all the money, Kathy.
That's true.
You get all the money. I get nothing.
That's true. I handle the books.
Yeah, exactly. In fact, Kathy will tell you, I don't spend any money without calling Kathy first. I'll call Kathy and text her, "Hey, I'm going to buy this thing. It costs $2.
I don't think you. No. You don't do it if it's $2.
$2.50.
And do I ever say no?
Never say no. Never say no. But
Now let's flip the equation.
So Kathy gets all the money. She gets 100% of the everything I get, which is fine. It's fine with me.
Yeah.
But listen, guys,
as the way it should be.
If you go to my website, briancraigshow.com, you can email us there. And if you have something that you would like to advertise or promote on the program, let us know. And when you message us on the website and send us an email, make sure you send us information about what you're looking to advertise, including a website link if you have one. All right, listen, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, there's a lot more to talk about. We've just begun. My name is Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. We'll be right back.
Do you ever wonder why you constantly go through hard times? Why your loved one left you? What your purpose is? Or things along that line? Book a psychic reading to get accurate and honest insight about your life and what you can do to change it today at spiritualgratitude555.com. Spiritualgratitude555.com. Go there right now and meet your psychic. Spiritualgratitude555.com. Want to know where all the bodies are buried? Author Robert Allen Miltenberg holds the key to that question in his book, Pool Boy to the Mob, Everybody Out of the Pool. Author Robert Allen Miltenberg holds the key to that question in his book, Pool Boy to the Mob. Welcome to Mob-Ammy Beach. This book is a fictionalized account of Miltenberg working at a mob-owned Miami Beach hotel in the 70s. If you're a fan of The Godfather, Goodfellas, or The Sopranos, you will love this story that's full of colorful characters and wisecracking wise guys. It's a story with everything from Playboy bunnies and weaponized parrots to shattering the glass ceiling and getting away with murder, all in paradise. This is a wise guy tale you've never heard. Surrounded by pools, the trick for Bobby Moskowitz was not slipping in the one thicker than water. Bobby lived to tell the tales, and now you can read all about it. The funniest mob novel since Jimmy Breslin's The Gang That Couldn't Shoot Straight. Pool Boy to the Mob, Everybody Out of the Pool. From author Robert Allen Miltenberg, available on Amazon. Order your copy right now. From author Darwin Jefferson comes your next must-read book, Pakwan and the Order of Lost Souls. Available on Amazon. Author Darwin Jefferson tells a story about the supreme leader of a religious cult in the northern woodland region outside of Seattle, Washington. For many years, Pakwan had pilfered money, land, and property from his disciples, allowing him to establish a lavish lifestyle and construct a fortified compound where he's adored, worshipped, and treated as royalty. But the federal government has been investigating this religious cult and Pakwan's finances as well. Meanwhile, the Achilles project, directed by world-renowned genetic research scientist Dr. William Nelson, has just made a breakthrough in genetic DNA enhancement and restoration. What follows are events and circumstances that no one is prepared to deal with. What happens next? Find out when you read Pakwan and the Order of Lost Souls from author Darwin Jefferson. Available on Amazon in Kindle, paperback, and hardcover editions. Order your copy right now. If you're looking for the perfect tees for your loved ones, check out the Etsy shop First Up Co. on Etsy.com. The designs are colorful, whimsical, with a great variety of styles, colors, sizes, and themes. Whether you want tees for holidays, birthdays, religion, sports, Mother's and Father's Day, nurses, funny tees, and that's just the beginning. The selection at First Up Co. on Etsy is huge. You'll find all kinds of tees for everyone you know. Also enjoy fast shipping. First Up Co. is the best place to get your Christmas gifts for everyone on your Christmas gift-giving list. Go right now to First Up Co. on Etsy. Just search First Up Co. That's all one word on Etsy.com.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. Okay, I've got two things here I want to share with you that involve the public schools, and they involve two different things in the public schools, but both of them are being done by liberals, and I'll play the audio in just a moment. The first is a school teacher, and the second is a meeting of school board members on Zoom that was leaked to the public. Before I play this, a lot of people say, well, get your kids out of public school. Well, that's not an option for most everyone, okay? Homeschooling is not possible. Most parents are working and don't have time to be at home all day and educate their children as much as they would love that. And private school is not just, it's not something that most people can afford. And this whole idea that, you know, pull your kids out of public school and everything. Normally, you hear a lot of people that are national news people and podcasters and stuff that are famous telling you to do that. They're rich and they can afford it. They'd have their kids in out of public school no matter what, you know, even if it wasn't a problem. This idea that we surrender our public schools to these liberals is insane. We got to take back our public schools. Here in Florida, Ron DeSantis got a whole bunch of people elected to school boards all over the state in this last election cycle. 2 superintendents have been fired by Ron DeSantis-backed school board members that just made it on school boards in November. So that's how you do it. And I've talked a lot about how we really need to have a massive MAGA recruiting effort for young people to go to college to become school teachers, and they'll make their way into becoming school administrators down the road. This is what you got to do. So I got 2 audio clips here. The first one is a school teacher. And the second one I'll get to after we're done with this is the school board meeting on a Zoom that was leaked out by participants who were so outraged at what happened. That one will blow your mind. This one with the teacher,
I just can't believe,
is nothing in comparison to that one.
Think about it. I'm so glad Emily's out of school. Think about between worrying about school shootings, and teachers brainwashing children, kids wanting to have surgery to remove their private parts and have hysterectomies. I don't know. You have to be more involved than ever in your kid's life. You cannot just go to work every day and act like nothing's happening and just put it in other people's hands to raise your children.
You can't.
You have to be so involved in their life, ask questions, talk to their teachers, go and meet their teacher on parents' night. It's like the first few weeks of school. And let me tell you, if you see rainbow anything, those are huge red flags. They don't belong in, or Black Lives Matter, anything. I wouldn't even be comfortable with a MAGA flag in a classroom. That kind of political stuff does not belong in a classroom. In fact, when I was teaching, many, many times students tried to get me into political discussions. And I told them, I do not discuss politics in here, and we're not going to discuss politics. We're going to discuss English. That's why we're here. All these teachers this is why kids are so stupid. They're no longer concerned with educating children. They're into brainwashing children.
Well, it's always been liberal in the public schools.
So stressful now.
But the liberalism before wasn't so outrageous and was a little more subtle. Like, for example,
Definitely.
there was one thing. Steve and I did some stuff on this. This was amazing. On Black History Month, teachers have, they go to the teacher store and they order the Black History Month kit, and it has pictures of notable and historic African Americans on the wall.
Right.
And those never include Clarence Thomas. They include all kinds of people, but they don't include Clarence Thomas. And, those are the kind of things that they do subtly, in the past. Now it's more obvious. So let me get to this. This is the first one here. This is a school teacher. Listen to this.
Hi, I'm a queer teacher, and I 1,000% do not support this bill. And yes, I do know what's in it. The bill in itself is just another way to stigmatize the LGBTQ plus community. Kids as young as 3 and 4 are actually aware of their gender identity, even if they don't have the language for it.
Okay. This is a teacher in LA, by the way. Children as young as 3 and 4 are into gender identity. They don't even know what gender is. They don't know
That's ridiculous.
Any of these things.
Very aware of who they like and who they don't like. Heterosexuality is pushed on our kids on a daily basis at a very young age. Media, through books. The first Disney movie that you saw. Say that pre-K through 3rd grade are not ready for such topics is actually internalized homophobia and transphobia. They're very much ready for these topics and are way more accepting than adults when it comes to discussing these topics. And talk about gender assumptions, pronouns, all the things. And it is child development appropriate and age appropriate. It's literally created as just another means to other queer people. Basically say that us existing is not normal.
Okay. Now, yeah, I know it's crazy. The thing about that is,
meanwhile, people like this will never have children of their own.
Yeah.
And when you don't have children of your own, no offense to people who don't have children, you really don't understand what it's like to be a parent. It's not like having a dog, which a lot of people love to say. It's nothing like having a dog. You don't understand the level of responsibility, money, time, energy, worry that comes into being a parent. It is all-consuming. It changes your life drastically, and I'm not saying in a bad way, in a good way. But these people that are affecting children's lives, I promise you 99% of these activists have no kids, will never have kids. They do not understand the damage they are doing to these children because they see them for a couple hours a day, then they go home, and they don't deal with the fallout years and years and years later that their effect is going to have on these kids. They see it's a good
teachers
thing.
Like this
Crazy.
have become teachers to be activists in these things.
That's for sure.
The only reason they're a teacher
they've been recruited
is to become an activist and promote what they think the way things should be and children should be. And, a lot of teachers say, my kids, they are not your children.
No,
they are not your kids.
I wonder if there's a group. You know how there's like separate national groups that recruit teachers? There's one national group that I can't think of the name, and they actually recruit teachers around the country because I was looking into it when I was teaching. I wonder if they're the ones who are really looking for these activists. It's too common now.
They're probably recruiting in the gay straight clubs in the high schools.
Yeah, I mean, it's just too common now.
It's bizarre. And, it used to be people went into teaching for other reasons. Kirstie Alley just died. And one of my favorite movies with Kirstie Alley, she has a smaller role in it. She's supporting, but it's called Summer School with Mark Harmon.
That's a great movie.
And Mark Harmon he's the star of the movie. It's a very good movie. It's a comedy. Kirstie Alley is in it. And he's a teacher, and the movie starts on the last day of school, and he's getting ready to head off for vacation in Hawaii, and the principal tells him he has to teach summer school. And he says, well, that's the whole reason I got into teaching is to have the summers off. What do you mean I got to work all summer? And people used to go into teaching for the time off. And that, you know what? There's nothing wrong with that. But to go into it, to indoctrinate children into any type of thought.
Pretty sickening.
Is just not the way it should be. But it gets worse. This is a school board meeting in California. And this was a school board meeting that was done on a Zoom, and someone leaked it out because it was so outrageous. And, these liberals, they've gone so far out of the boundaries of morality and normalcy.
Yeah.
Not only do they not have boundaries anymore, they don't understand what is appropriate and inappropriate at this point any longer.
Because all the lines are being blurred, Brian, and they keep pushing that line further and further.
So they've just completely lost control of themselves. So look into this. Again, this is a California school board meeting on Zoom. They got busted. Listen to this.
I believe my co-panelists will agree with me based on what we do and how we do it around porn literacy, that porn can be good.
Okay. Now, porn literacy is a phrase I've never heard of before, and there is no situation where porn is good.
These people are pure evil.
They
and
just are. Woman. They're sick.
They're pure evil, and they love to sexualize children.
And
says a lot.
And pornography victimizes women. These are just sick people. There's more though. I'll rewind it. I know this is crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy.
You would think this was not real, but it's sadly very real.
What they do though, Brian, and they normalize a lot of behaviors that, not that long ago would never be normalized.
That's
and
right.
It worries me what's next.
Oh, boy.
I believe my co-panelists will agree with me based on what we do and how we do it around porn literacy, that porn can be good if sex ed is good. Correct me if I'm wrong when it's your turn.
Okay, now this part, This is interesting. All that dead air, the rest of the people in this school board meeting they're like in shock.
Nobody wants to agree with
They aren't saying anything, and they're just letting her go and go and go on.
See, that porn can be good if sex ed is good. Correct me if I'm wrong when it's your turn, co-panelists, but I'm seeing stuff in the chat that is suggesting porn is bad. We need to get rid of it. We need to ban it. It's not healthy. There are a lot of things that make that statement true, but that would mean completely eliminating everyone's router. You're not going to be able to just get rid and censor all of these things. We're not going to be able to get rid of every R-rated film, right? But there's also artistic liberties that we want people in the creative world and specifically in the entertainment industry that is pornography
to
have the ability to exercise.
Wow.
But it's on us to create commentary and discourse around it. And if we're in a sex negative world, porn is going to be bad because kids are defaulting to that to learn about their bodies and how to take care of it by not taking care of it or others. But that doesn't mean it's the porn industry's fault. It is an entertainment industry, and we need to remind young people it's not an education industry. There's a difference between media and sex ed.
What the
porn
hell is she
is
talking
not
about?
sex ed. Sex ed can include topics around a variety of things like music and around film and around commercials and how gender stereotypes are perpetuated. But these two things are not synonymous. And when, people are just saying we need to just ban porn and it's always bad and it leads to addiction. These are very big generalized statements that people are making.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. Okay. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you all the reasons pornography is bad.
I think that's a given.
Like anti-Semitism and white supremacy, there are some things you don't have to condemn. Everyone just assumes they're bad, right? This woman, whatever position she has with any school or school district, she should forever lose the ability to have contact with children, period, including children that might be hers. I am a
school board member.
I have never heard anyone connected to a school of any kind or the education system, or really a woman, talk this way.
What district is this?
It's somewhere in California.
Of course. Well, let's see if the parents, they need to get her removed. I mean, this woman should be investigated and looked into and nowhere near children.
No. I mean, that is just...
I'd like to know her background.
I don't want to know. It's scary. It's scary. I've never heard anything like it. But see, this is the thing. I remember back in the 90s and the 80s when Pat Robertson and the Christian Coalition were running around. And they were saying things like, because back then the big thing was about gay rights. And people said, well, if we normalize gay rights, in the future, all these things are going to happen. We are far beyond
indoctrination.
Yeah, we are far beyond the predictions of Pat Robertson the 700 Club and
this
the Christian
is beyond
right.
their wildest dreams.
They could not even conceive that the boundaries would be pushed as far as they've been pushed in the last couple of years.
No way.
And
if you told them, they'd say you were. They'd even say you were nuts.
When they were talking some of this, I would say to myself, because we'd have some of these people on the radios, I'd say there's no way people are ever going to accept this or they're going to accept that. Those things are so far in the past and boring now compared to what's going on.
Envelope every day, and the reason they keep pushing the envelope is because that is in their nature to push envelopes. And when they get one thing resolved, they move on to the next. It's a compulsion they have. It's a compulsion. It's a godlike feeling to control people's lives, to influence people's lives, and to change people's lives instead of just leaving things alone. And this is part of that mindset. They have a certain mindset of meddling, changing things. Not just leaving things okay. And when they get one thing resolved, they move on to the next thing, the next problem, the next thing they want to change. And they've resolved so many things. They're moving on to this because they got nothing else.
It's insane.
It is insane. And I've said this before. These drag shows at schools are being staged by liberals to create a new controversy that they can get the gay community around and to get liberals around. Because they know that Christian parents will be outraged over this. Mm-hmm. So this is how they create a new problem to attack conservatives over that and call them bigots over.
That's right. Now, I want to tell you about a book, Pool Boy to the Mob. The author is Robert Allen Miltenberg. And he's a listener to the program, watches on YouTube, listens to the podcast. And he actually contacted us about advertising his book, Pool Boy to the Mob, by listening to us one day. Say, hey, if you're interested in advertising, go to briancraigshow.com. His book, Pool Boy to the Mob, which I know a lot of you guys have ordered a copy of, and I've heard very good things from listeners who have bought and read this book. Robert was a pool boy at a mob-owned hotel when he was a kid in Miami Beach, and he wrote this book all about it, Pool Boy to the Mob. And I've not only heard good things from listeners that have bought the book, and have told me that they really enjoyed it. It's well reviewed, too, by readers on Amazon. So order your copy, Pool Boy to the Mob, from Robert Allen Miltenberg. It's available in Kindle and paperback on Amazon. All right, we'll take a break and be right back. Don't go anywhere.
If you're looking for unique and thoughtful gift ideas for this holiday season, look no further. Give the gift of a handcrafted pocket totem from Spectra 3D on Etsy. Pocket totems are a great way to give a thoughtful, handmade keepsake and a loving reminder of someone's unique qualities. When you visit Spectra 3D on Etsy, make sure to check out their selection of beautiful pocket totems featuring mythical creatures, red foxes, Arctic foxes, rabbits, and more. They also come in a variety of colors, including special glowing totems. All of the pocket totems from Spectra 3D on Etsy are hand-sculpted, poured, and painted. They're a great way to show your love and support for someone special. Use them as reminders, worry stones, or window or desk accessories. Head over to Spectra3DonEtsy.com to order your pocket totem today. Spectra 3D on Etsy. Fill your heart with love and joy this holiday season. Order your copy of The Heart of Christmas, a book to help you prepare your heart for Christmas. Enjoy this beautiful season of hope and share your blessings with those in need. By author Heidi Dalton, The Heart of Christmas is a book and journal for anyone who loves Christmas and wants to make the holiday season meaningful for themselves and their loved ones. You'll learn to decorate your soul and how the sweet aroma of freshly baked cookies relates to your prayer life. You'll see how to intentionally wrap your gifts with love and enjoy meaningful family time with your loved ones. Connect with the feeling of Christmas like never before and feel Jesus' love as you reflect on the gifts that God has blessed us all with. The Heart of Christmas from author and Christmas lover Heidi Dalton. Visit HeidiDalton.com or Amazon to order your copy for this holiday season right now. Get ready for a compelling story about life-changing experiences, unique discoveries, kindness, and mystical visions. Authors Faye and George Chamberlain bring you Connections Past, an inspirational mythic thriller. If you enjoy page-turning action and adventures, this is a book you will not be able to put down. It will take you on an exciting and thought-provoking journey. Could acts of kindness make this world a better place? 26 years after her mother's death, Geneva finds herself on a journey to fulfill her mother's prophecy. prophecy. Along the way, she meets improbable allies and is drawn into unknown realms. What follows is a mythic thrill ride of twists, turns, and self-discovery. Available in Kindle, paperback, and hardcover editions. Connections Past from authors Faye and George Chamberlain. Order your copy right now on Amazon or visit the author's website, chamberlainbooks.com. What would you do if you woke up in a place that was heavily alien and you had no idea how you got there? In the book from author M.K. Hussein, Fabric, Day 1, Origins Unknown, available on Amazon, meet Max, who wakes up suddenly to find he's prisoner in a maximum security facility. He doesn't remember much, not even his name or why he's been detained. Somehow, he manages to escape the wretched place only to discover something far worse. The world is not how he remembers it before he had awakened. The past, present, and future have somehow collided into one. Nothing is the same as it was before. Trapped on this new world, he finds out he only has 3 days to live and only 3 days to find a cure. He has to walk through a mystical door that has only room for one. The only problem is he's not the only prisoner on the planet. What happens next? Find out when you read Fabric, Day 1, Origins Unknown from author M.K. Hussein, available on Amazon in Kindle and paperback.
5527, runway 8 kilo, you're clear for takeoff.
Do you want to get your kids a toy they'll really love? The Kids Thrill Kids Airplane toy on Amazon is an exciting airplane ready for takeoff. Let your children transform into pilots and experience a fun playtime with the Kids Thrill Kids Airplane toy. It's perfect for kids of all ages who love airplanes. This toy promotes fun and engaging playtime as well as a creative imagination. The bright colors and wheels will help your children visualize the airplane's toy action like a real pilot. And with lights and sound, allow your child to learn motor skills and help them develop their creativity to stimulate their brain development. It makes a great gift, and the fun doesn't stop there either. Kids Thrill on Amazon have a lot of other toys too, including fun and educational toys for babies, toddlers, and children of all ages, including stacking cups, baby toys, toy trucks, like their fire trucks, garbage truck, and construction trucks. The prices at Kids Thrill have huge discounts for the holiday season going on right now. Kids Thrill take great pride in their customer service and the quality of their toys. So what are you waiting for? Go to Amazon.com right now and search Kids Thrill for endless hours of fun for your kids. Kids Thrill on Amazon. Start shopping right now.
You are listening to the Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at briancraigshow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. Listen to this. This is amazing. Nothing's more liberal than the New York Times, right? New York Times is as liberal as it gets, and they're proud of it. And now they're being called racist. Listen to this. New York Times theater critic is accused of casual racism and white cultural supremacy. This is so strange.
I am so tired of all this nonsense, aren't you?
I know.
It's just ridiculous.
It's the theme of today's show.
It's the theme of the whole country, it seems.
Listen to this article. Producers of the Broadway musical K-pop, based on the Korean music genre K-pop, have accused the New York Times of publishing a racist review that implies white supremacy.
Oh, boy.
New York Times theater critic Jesse Green was accused in an open letter of racism in his negative review of the production, and they asked him to issue an apology for his poor review. The letter, written by K-pop producer Tim Forbes and Joey Parnez, claimed astonishment at the New York Times' casual racism and cultural insensitivity. Most notably, the producers attacked the critic for describing the musical's bright lights as squint-inducing. The lights were so bright he had to squint his eyes, so they're saying that he's making a racist comment about Asian eyes. This is particularly an egregious example of cultural insensitivity, they said. Wow, sounds like they're the racist, stereotyping Asians. That's a terrible...
So wait a minute. He said the lights on the stage
were so bright that you had to squint your eyes while watching. Like there was too much lighting. Like it was blinding, the light, and you had to squint his eyes.
So they're the ones equating it with the Asian.
Exactly.
Oh
exactly.
Gosh.
You put bright lights in your eyes.
This is like that chink in the armor comment.
Yeah. Green also suggested in his review that he struggled to understand significant parts of the musical that were in Korean. The producers criticized that comment and argue that the Korean dialogue always made sense in context. Yeah, if you speak Korean and understand Korean. I remember Shogun. Remember Shogun with Richard Chamberlain? When the Chinese were speaking in Shogun, they didn't have subtitles in the original broadcast on networks, and people complained about it. Like, I don't know what they're saying. They're speaking Chinese. You know, I mean, you can't be doing it.
Exactly.
A Broadway show is only valid if it's centered on and catering exclusively to a white English-speaking audience, they wrote. Well, if you put on a Broadway show open to the public in Broadway in New York City, and it's in Korean, or large parts of it are in Korean, your average person, no matter where they are from in the world, is going to be able to. I mean, how many people on the planet speak Korean?
George Costanza's father speaks Korean.
Right. North and South Korea combined is a tiny little country. There are very few Korean speakers in this country. It's not racist to say, I can't understand you.
Wow.
You know,
well, now you can't even be a critic, because anytime you say anything critical, the producer is just going to say you're a bigot if the cast has minorities.
Yeah, maybe the play just sucks.
Maybe, exactly.
You know, I like K-pop. I don't follow anything. I don't know any K-pop bands, but I know of it, and I do watch some Korean drama shows on Netflix sometimes, and I like the Korean stuff. But when I watch Korean. The Koreans have a lot of really cool police dramas and science fiction shows on Netflix that I enjoy. But when I watch them with subtitles. Okay, subtitles are offered. They're speaking Korean because the Korean show, like there was a Korean version of Designated Survivor. You know that Kiefer Sutherland show?
Yeah.
There's a Korean version of it.
Right.
And the Korean version is much better than the American Kiefer Sutherland version.
That show wasn't good.
Oh my goodness. The Korean version of Designated Survivor is incredible.
You watch so many Korean shows, I'm surprised you don't speak Korean.
I read the subtitles.
Yeah.
And if I turn the subtitles off, I don't know what they're saying. I'm not.
No, but some people do learn a language that way.
No, they don't. That's all lies. How can you do that? I don't know what they're saying.
That's what people say.
No, the people lie. You don't learn language
from watching TV.
I've heard that. I
know it's hard because when I lived in Italy, we were always watching Italian MTV, and all the VJs were speaking in Italian, and they'd have subtitles, and it didn't help me learn.
No, that's all lies.
Any Italian at all.
Throughout the letter,
it was gobbledygook.
Throughout the letter, they claimed Green's negativity towards the show was rooted in a general distaste of Korean culture and music. But in his review, he said that an off-Broadway version of the same musical in 2017 was far superior. Now, listen, I have seen the same play, the same musical, performed by different troupes and in different venues, and it is night and day. For example, I saw a professional production of Evita, like a real production, like a real professional, like Broadway production of Evita. It was spectacular, and I loved it. I've told this to Kathy before. I did sound on a production of Evita for the Theater of the Deaf.
Yeah.
The Theater of the Deaf here did a production of they did a musical, Evita. It was in sign language. and I did the sound. And it was very difficult because
Wait a minute.
the actors couldn't hear it.
But why did they have sound if it was for the deaf?
For the audience. For the hearing audience.
Oh, I got you.
It was a mess.
That's kind of
it was very
a little
weird.
ironic.
It was a mess.
Or weird or whatever the word is.
Yeah, it was very difficult. And the director, I was so excited to meet the director. He was an actor in Missing in Action 2 with Chuck Norris, and he was one of the POWs with Chuck Norris in Missing in Action 2. I was very impressed with that because I was a big Chuck Norris fan. But anyway, the production that I was a part of for Evita, it was the same show, the same music, the same songs. It was not at the same level of the Broadway version I saw. I've seen that's just the way it is. So you could see the same exact show performed by two different casts, and one could be spectacular, and one can suck. I've seen Jesus Christ Superstar a number of times, and I saw Jesus Christ Superstar with the original actor that was in the movie, the original Broadway actor. I cannot remember his name. He was the original Broadway actor. And
the main guy that played Jesus?
And the original...
He was in the Titanic.
Was he? Who was he in Titanic?
Oh no, he played Godspell on the movie.
Not Godspell. Jesus Christ Superstar.
Jesus. Oh no, I don't know.
I saw. I can't remember the guy's name, but he was in the
Godspell's way better.
He was the original Jesus in Jesus Christ Superstar on Broadway, and he was also in the movie. And I saw a production of him.
I can top that
on stage, and it was spectacular. And then I saw the exact same show with the exact same music with other actors, and it sucked. I mean, it just so this guy saw the same production 5 years ago with different people, a different production. He gave it a good review. Well, maybe they were better than the people behind this one. What can you top? What did you see?
I saw Camelot with Richard Harris.
Oh, really?
Yes, I did. My stepmother's a huge Camelot fan, and this was when he was older. I was in high school.
He's passed away, I'm sure.
Yeah, and I was probably 14, 15, and she came home and she said, and I'd seen the movie many times because she was a big fan. She always had good taste in movies, my stepmom. She always came and rented videos of great movies, musicals she liked, and I watched Camelot. I loved it. She had the record, and she came home. She said, I have a big treat. She said, I got tickets. We're going to go see Camelot with Richard Harris.
Pretty cool.
That was awesome. And we had like third row. And he was spectacular. He was talking to the audience, laughing. It was one of the greatest things I'd ever seen. I loved it.
So back to this,
was a real treat.
K-pop article. In response to the letter, the New York Times stood by the review, saying, "We saw the open letter written about the New York Times review of K-pop and quickly convened a discussion among editors and members of our standards department. This group was in agreement that Jesse's review was fair. More importantly, we wholly disagree with the argument that Jesse's criticism is somehow racist. K-pop, which opened in November, tells the story of 3 K-pop acts, all managed by a major label, coming together to put on a concert that will introduce them to the U.S. audience."
It sounds exciting.
Sounds terminal.
Yeah.
It features an almost entirely Asian cast and a number of established K-pop artists, a point which the producers emphasized in their letter. Well, listen, being a star in Korea is not the same as being a star in New York City, okay? I mean, I had nothing against Korea, but, come on. It goes on. He characterizes, it goes on and on. Okay. The reason I share this story is I love this story. You know why I love this story? The New York Times is filth. The New York Times is not worthy of using to train your puppy how to go to the bathroom, okay? And the New York Times has been promoting this liberal ideology for forever, and now they're being called out. Right? The New York Times was like the original, liberal in this country news outlet. Yep. And they've always held this liberal standard. They call everyone racist. They call everyone culturally insensitive and all these things. And now these liberal jerks at the New York Times are busted and they're being called.
It all comes full circle.
Yeah, they're being called what they've been calling conservatives forever,
That's
racist. And you know what? I love it and I enjoy it, and that's why I share that story with you. The liberals have set this standard today where everything is racist. Everything is racist.
Yeah. Well, whenever they're challenged, like we talked about earlier, if you're having a conversation with somebody and you challenge them, so here you have a producer or director being challenged on their production, and that's their go-to. They can't just accept the criticism.
Nope.
Now you're a bigot. I wonder what happened with that guy on Broadway with the sign language interpreter.
He made a settlement. I think he reached they fired.
He didn't get his job back.
A sign language interpreter was fired from a Broadway production. We talked about this a few weeks ago because he's white.
Yeah, from the Lion King.
Yeah. Somebody black has to be the sign language interpreter because Lion King takes place in Africa.
Yeah, it's like an all black.
It's so bizarre. Now,
non-white cast.
I want to take a moment to thank our Patreon supporters for their support of the program. Thank you so much. And if you would like to support the program by becoming a Patreon supporter, there's a link on my website, briancraigshow.com, to our Patreon page. And there's also a link in the description of this and every episode. And our top Patreon supporters get a live on-air thank you shout-out on every episode of the program. So the names you will hear now are our top Patreon supporters. I want to thank Andrew and Connie, Christine, Gary, ETW, Chuck, D, Pamela, Rick, Nick, Wesley, Macho, and Rome, Wisconsin. These are our top Patreon supporters. Thank you all for your support. All right, I got this one last soundbite I want to share with you. It's Jen Psaki, and she's talking about Trump.
What else does she talk about?
Well, I'll tell you what she's going to be talking about. I think we're going to see Jen Psaki testifying in front of Congress on these Twitter files. You know, she was the press secretary on the campaign as well as the White House.
And really trying to make it like it's nothing to see here, no big deal. Okay, don't buy it.
Then you got nothing to worry about.
They're going to have to answer for this.
When the Twitter file hearings come to the House of Representatives, I'm expecting to see a lot of Jen Psaki behind all of this. And I'm expecting her to be also found manipulating Twitter when she was White House press spokesperson. So anyway, she's on TV talking about Trump and all of us. Listen.
I mean, I think Democrats and sane Republicans underestimate Trump at their own peril, because in order for Trump not to win the nomination, there has to be a better alternative. That's how primaries work, right? Ron DeSantis, he's either the savior or he's currently at his peak. Mike Pence, with all due respect, didn't exactly light the world on fire politically before he was selected by Donald Trump to be his running mate. So the question is, who's the alternative? Trump has some evil charisma that helps him win the nomination. The nomination process is long. What is going to happen here, in my view, is people should not underestimate.
Okay. Trump has some evil charisma.
Well, I agree with her on one thing. Don't underestimate Trump.
Oh, that's for sure.
She's right on that. That's all she's right on.
I'll agree that he has charisma, but evil charisma?
He's definitely got charisma.
You know, there's never...
I think she has no charisma, by the way.
There's never been a Republican, not even Ronald Reagan, that just was loved so much by so many people. Ronald Reagan, people loved Ronald Reagan. Everybody likes Ronald Reagan. But he wasn't doing rallies with 50 to 100,000 people with no notice all the time. He even Ronald Reagan couldn't have pulled that off. You know, and that's what freaks them out. They call it all kinds of things, right? They call us a cult. They call us all this stuff.
Oh, the name calling never stops.
We love Donald Trump. They hate him because we love him. They hate us because we love him. They don't understand it. They're jealous.
But you know what?
It drives them nuts.
I think they secretly love him. There's a thin line.
Oh, they hate him
between love and hate.
Jen Psaki.
There is a thin line. You know that movie with Martin Lawrence? Great movie. A thin line between love and hate. The opposite of love is really indifference. But love and hate can go very hand in hand with each other. He elicits think about it, an emotional response. They can't stop thinking about him. They can't stop talking about him. That sounds like love to me.
Yeah, you never know.
I'm serious. It's a twisted kind of love. But I think secretly they do love him in a weird way.
Well,
they're obsessed with him.
I don't agree with that, but I know we love him. Listen, everyone, thanks for joining us. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. We will talk to you next time.
How far would you go to find your destiny? Danger lurks in plain sight, but passion is blinding. Join Geneva as she embarks on a journey full of lies, fear, and heartbreak in the new book, Face of Duplicity, from authors Faye and George Chamberlain. Face of Duplicity is a psychological thriller that will keep you clinging to the page until the very end. It's full of unexpected twists and turns, packed into a story that will keep you questioning who to trust. Push the limits of desperation and passion. Get lost in a story of obsession, murder, and pursuit, where people are not always who they seem to be. Face of Duplicity, from authors Faye and George Chamberlain. Order your copy on Amazon or visit the author's website, chamberlainbooks.com.
5527, runway 8 kilo, you're clear for takeoff.
Do you want to get your kids a toy they'll really love? The Kids Thrill Kids Airplane toy on Amazon is an exciting airplane ready for takeoff. Let your children transform into pilots and experience a fun playtime with the Kids Thrill Kids Airplane toy. It's perfect for kids of all ages who love airplanes. This toy promotes fun and engaging playtime, as well as a creative imagination. The bright colors and wheels will help your children visualize the airplane's toy action like a real pilot. And with lights and sound, allow your child to learn motor skills and help them develop their creativity to stimulate their brain development. It makes a great gift, and the fun doesn't stop there either. Kids Thrill on Amazon have a lot of other toys too, including fun and educational toys for babies, toddlers, and children of all ages, including stacking cups, baby toys, toy trucks, like their fire trucks, garbage truck, and construction trucks. The prices at Kids Thrill have huge discounts for the holiday season going on right now. Kids Thrill take great pride in their customer service and the quality of their toys. So what are you waiting for? Go to Amazon.com right now and search Kids Thrill for endless hours of fun for your kids. Kids Thrill on Amazon. Start shopping right now.